Welcome to our YouTube channel, and today we are going to learn about a very important task, and that is how you can apply Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to track your startup goals. Assuming you have a startup, a young company that is doing very well, and when you launched it you had goals, but you want to visualize and be able to see how far you've gone. So today we are going to look at how you can apply Microsoft Excel to be able to track the goals that you've achieved, the goals that you are on track to achieve, and how you can present this as a report, maybe to investors or to stakeholders. So we are going to use Microsoft Excel, and I'll open a blank workbook. Don't forget to save your work before you start. So you click on File, you click on Save. Then in Save, you're going to identify a destination in this personal computer, and we pick the desktop. So we are going to look at desktop. The desktop is the first windows that you always see when you open your computer, when you start your computer. So it is easier to track and to trace files when you save them on Windows, on desktop. So I'll click their desktop, I'll give it a file name. I say my startup goals, status of my startup goals. Then I'll say save. So I've saved my work. As you can see up here, the title has now changed to status of my startup goals. So what I'm going to do is to key in different aspects. So the first thing we can say, we have the goal. That is the goal. Then next to the goal we have metric. Then we have the target, the target that we had, and then we have the actual value. So this is the target value, and then we have next to it we have the actual value. So let me expand this so that it can be bigger to accommodate that. Also this. After that we have progress in percentage, progress in percentage. How much progress have we gone based on the goals that we have achieved? After that, we have lastly the status. So we are going to look how you can use Microsoft Excel in order to achieve this. So let me make this bigger also, like that. Then metric also. So this is what we are going to work with. I hope you'll be able to follow through and understand every aspect of it. So I've just selected the entire work, and then I've inserted this border. Let me also put a color to it so that it can look much better. So we've created this table. Now we are going to key in. The next thing you need to do, so we've created a table that we are going to use to enter data based on what we've achieved this year. So the first goal we had maybe was about to increase sales. That was our first goal this year. Let me make it bold so that we can be able to see what I'm typing. So the first goal was about to increase sales. The second goal maybe you had was to launch new product. Another goal that you had this year was to grow user base. Another goal that you had was to scale to other regions, and lastly to recruit manpower. So in your company now, what were the metrics? The metrics that you are targeting was revenues. Then when you wanted to launch a new product, you are targeting the launch date. When you wanted to grow the user base, you are targeting active users. When you wanted to scale to other regions, you are looking at the infrastructure. And also, when you are looking at recruiting manpower, you are looking at the trends, maybe in terms of skill trends. So, skill trends, what's the latest skills in the market? What was the target value? Maybe you are targeting, so let me put all these in US dollars. Let me put the figures in US dollars, so I'll click here and then it will be currency. So maybe you are targeting 1,000 US dollars. Here you're targeting maybe 560 US dollars, 780 US dollars. So these random figures, 600 US dollars, and lastly maybe 10,000. That's your target. So let me adjust a little bit. So I've made some changes, and then the actual value. The actual value here, maybe you used the target for revenue that you had was this, and then the actual value you used was 700. Then here maybe a launch date. For the launch date, it will be just a general number. So launch date, maybe you wanted to launch on 2025 07/11. That was when we wanted to launch. Active users, general number also. Maybe you wanted to get 8,000 users. Scale to other region, how many regions? General number. Maybe you wanted to scale to 5 more regions. Recruit manpower. How many people do you want to recruit? Maybe you wanted to recruit 30, let's say 30 people. So when you look at your actual value, you can see here it is in terms of dollars, so this is what you spent. Launch date, let's say you launched on 7th, 12th, 2025, and then the active users, maybe you got 500. Then here, the infrastructure, for you to scale to other regions, you managed to scale to 3. And then, how many people you recruited? Maybe you recruited 20. So this is what you managed to achieve. Now, what about the progress? What about the progress? Maybe, based on what you've achieved, we can see there's a difference here. So we need to find the difference between this and this, so that we can, between this one and this, so that we can be able to see the progress that we achieved. These two, we are going to look at the differences, so that we can be able to see what we have been able to achieve as progress in percentage. So we are going to calculate that. so that we can be able to see what we have achieved. So for calculation, we are going to look at equal sign into bracket. So that is 20, that is this cell divided by this other cell, close the bracket, multiply by 100, so that we can get in percentage. So the progress here is 66%. 66%. I'm going to round off to the whole number. So the progress right here is 66%. This is in percentage form. So here you scored 66%. What about this? So the same formula is equal into bracket what you actually achieved divided by what was the target, multiplied by 100. Then you also get here you achieved 60%. What about here? So it will be equal sign into that. So it will be this divided by that one, multiply 100 also. Here you achieved 5%. The progress was 5%. 5%. What about this one? So it will be equal sign into bracket, that divided by that, multiplied by 100. The progress here is 6%. Also these, we can look at it. Let's see if we can be able to achieve the results that we want to get. The progress here is 100%. You are able to meet your goal. So what about the status? So we are going to apply the formula called if function, so that automatically we can be able to see the status of our results. So assuming the average value here is we are going to see the average value. So we say equal sign average into bracket, from there down to here, close the bracket. So the average is 48%. So we are going to apply a formula here based on this average. So we are going to say that is equal sign if into bracket, if this value is greater than 48, is greater than 48%, then assign let's say assign on track. The progress is on track. Speech mark, comma, speech mark. But if it is less, if this sign is less than 48, if this value here is less than the 48, then at risk. The progress is at risk. So we are going to look at what is at risk, then we close the bracket. Once you do that, press enter. So it has told you that this 6% is below 48%, meaning this task is at risk. So increasing sales in your company is at risk. What about these other ones? So I'm going to drag this small box downwards so that I get the other values. So you can see the other projects are on track, except this one that the value is not accurate. So we are going to look at it. So this one we are going to look at it also. So here I'm going to adjust the formula based on that only, because there is an error there. So I'll say is equal if into bracket, if this value is greater than 48, then speech mark, you can say on track, but if not, then it is at risk. Then close bracket, enter. So now you can see our formula is complete, and the values portray what our company is currently attaining. So now I'm going to change colors so that you can be able to see what it means. So this one I'm going to give it a red color so that we can be able to see which projects are at risk and which ones are on track. The ones that are on track, I'm going to give them a green color. Green color. So this is a report for your startup. You have the goals, you have the metrics, you have the target value, you have the actual value, you have the progress and status. So using that, you can be able to apply Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to track your goals and also the status of those goals that are on track. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you keep practicing on this so that you can push your goal forward. Thank you, and see you on the next video.